And we are live.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening. Welcome to the September 8th Finance Agenda. Going to take a quick roll call. I have Eric Amberger, Chief Wall, Lori Peretti, Ray Smith, Dan Faminsky, Bill Lawrence, Diane Percy, Ismet Alam, Denise Murphy-McGraw, Yasmin Syed, Matt Yetto, Rosemary Perez-Jaquith, Paul Briggs, and Bill McPartland. Did I miss anyone? Oh, okay. So our first item for action is a discussion about certain budgetary modifications. These are very, very simple this month. We have one for $18,500 coming from the general fund unreserved fund balance for KPM Restoration to come in and clean after a potential COVID infection. The rest are for the fuel station as previously discussed, and a very minor $112 drainage district budget, which Ray needed to pay out the mowing bills. We're just moving from one drainage district to the next. And that's it for budget so far.
Can I ask about that building cleaning bill, which was substantial? Have we looked for other avenues for this kind of service? Or is this the going rate?
We received 3 quotes a couple of months ago when all of this sort of began, and that was back in March. And KPM at the time was the most competitive. So with respect to the fact that it was an emergency situation, we went with them again because we've been using them. But from a going forward basis, you know, we could go out, we could ask for quotes again. I don't know if the pricing would have changed.
I couldn't recall what was in place, if we had like a, you know, contract in place, and I understand the emergency nature of it. It just was a substantial bill. So I just wondered how we, you know, went about that. I think it'd be good to look at that. I mean,
Yeah,
this
sure.
is going to, you know, this may continue to happen, and
Right,
significant amount of money.
right. Yeah, agreed.
Also, in that regard, was Charlie Berdami there with them? Do we know how many man hours they spent in the cleaning of town hall? Do we have any of that information?
I believe it's on their invoice, which I don't have at the ready. But I believe all of that's broken down. I don't believe that Charlie was there as supervision.
Material costs, that sort of thing, or?
Yeah, I can get that.
I believe Chief Wall was there with them, Councilwoman, after hours on a Saturday or a Sunday when they came in. I think he walked through the building with them.
I was present for the whole time they were there.
And Chief Wall, do you know how many people they had with them and the duration of the time frame?
So they had, I believe it was 3 guys, and it was an hour and a half to 2 hours that they were there.
And that was $18,500.
Yeah. Wow. Wow.
Seemed pretty extensive to me.
So when we get off finance, I can forward you over the copy of the invoice I got. I believe that the bulk of the invoice is the chemicals, special chemicals and treatment that they use. But I can forward that when we get off of the meeting before the agenda meeting, so you all have it if you'd like.
All right, great. Thanks, Gina.
Thanks, Jana.
Second item is a resolution setting the salary for the confidential secretary to the controller. And I'll let the supervisor speak to that.
Sure. So this is a housekeeping item for the period of time that Janet Nguyen served as acting comptroller. There was a salary adjustment, and so the purpose of this resolution is to adjust back the salary to confidential secretary to the comptroller, that grading step. And with C, the resolution to hire a clerk, that may or may not be the proper title, but essentially it's whoever's been serving as our front desk check-in. So the first point of entry for people who are coming into town hall. We have a need for a morning side person. So we have an afternoon person and also someone who's covering the justice court. and that's on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So this additional person would be for the morning shift. So they would cover 9 to 12:30 or 9 to 1. And then we do have an existing person who's covering 1 to 5, and then on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 7.
What's been the staffing on this, in this position in the past?
So this is an entirely new position, and it's all because of the COVID pandemic. We had a receptionist, and we still have a receptionist. The purpose of the receptionist was similar in the past to, being that front facing, the first point of contact as people enter town hall, checking them in, signing them in, and then directing them to the appropriate department if they had business to do within town hall, maybe on the second floor. So essentially, these individuals are serving the same purpose, except for the fact that they have to cover all hours, whereas prior, the hours that the receptionist would work was just 10 to 3 or 10 to 2, I believe. So the new duties of these front desk individuals is for the purpose of making sure that they have everyone signing in and signing out. So they're keeping, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, since this is related to COVID and thus, I think we all hope and pray that it's not going to be a long-term thing. Are we proposing to hire someone like as a permanent employee? Because does it make sense perhaps to consider a temp, for hours, so we're not paying benefits, et cetera, especially since, there's some expectation that this won't be a long-term need?
Yes, and the 2 individuals currently are serving in a part-time role, so they do not accrue any ancillary benefits. So it's just the hours that they're working that they're getting paid for. There are no other benefits associated.
What's the rate of pay on that?
It varies. I had one individual, so when I had my interns covering the desk, it was roughly $13 an hour. We do have another individual who we pulled in who I think is making $17 an hour. And she was prior working in the summer camps. So we pulled her from summer camps and she offered to do the front desk check-in. So it was the same rate of pay, just because she was already existing in our system. But that's the range, 13 to 17.
So we would be hiring somebody temporarily and we could cut their hours when the need was no longer existing.
Correct. Yep. And the individuals that we have currently serving in this role understand that it's hopefully on a temporary basis, that it's not something that's going to continue, again, hopefully for the foreseeable future, that when the day comes, and we all hope it's going to be soon, that, that position will dissolve.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm going to ask to add an item D here, authorization for TSM support for municipal accounting software. It's $5,482.07. This is an annual fee we pay to Munis to assist with our hardware. What's the word, Bill? Help me out here. Still a little groggy. Our server. It's a management support service that they provide for our server. It's
Correct.
of ISMIT's approval authority. It's below resolution authority, and I pay it generally in September of every year. So I just needed it. The bill happened to come in last week when I was out, so I just figured I'd throw it on and get it paid. The next item is referred from Public Works. Matt, are you on?
Yeah.
So this is a discussion regarding a request from Bellevue for a payment plan for recent utility billings, but I have no specifics on this, so I don't know anything about it.
So this was discussed at Public Works Committee. Back in 2013, Bellevue Hospital installed a new water meter, but they never registered it with the town. It was part of one of their renovations. We caught that meter on our reading system, and we added them to our system this year and the water that had gone through that meter added up to a sizable bill. So we prorated it based on the water rates for the years in which they were not billed, and we came at a slightly lower number. But they're asking now if there's any way that we can enter into a payment plan with them so that they can pay it off over time.
So what's the number? Because that's probably the magic question, right?
Just under $60,000.
I'm
How
sorry.
much?
Just under $60,000.
And what's their proposal for the payment plan?
They haven't proposed anything yet. They just wanted to know if we'd be willing to do it.
Have you ever done that before? And if we have done, have we like charged them an interest fee or something like that?
That was my question at the Public Works, and I believe Paul Briggs stated that he did not think that we had done that before for a commercial customer, only residential customers.
I agree. We did it for residentials.
Okay, we have done that. Okay.
No, we only did it for residentials, not for commercials.
I understand, but we have a past practice of doing that with somebody.
Right.
Okay. So does our Munis has the capability, or I'm sorry, the billing system has the capability of taking partial payments?
We'd have to do it by hand.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I know in the past when we've discussed this, we've had to do it by hand.
In the past, Paul had to keep track of it each time that they made a payment.
So,
Okay. So noted. Thank you.
So
We
they
need to-
haven't proposed what the time frame of the payment plan. would
no, I
be?
think this is something probably ISMIT needs to help us on, right? So
Right.
we discussed it in the committee. Obviously, you know, the hospital is a little bit different than just a commercial. This isn't Target asking us this, right? So we're trying to be cognizant of their bottom line. But I think we need ISMIT's input as to what's most reasonable. It can't be, you know, monthly. So, you know, whatever is easiest for you to be able to do.
Okay. I would, not knowing anything about it, so my recommendation would be do it on a quarterly basis. And
Yes.
then,
So
go
we
ahead.
did with, I'm sorry. I can actually review with you what we did with the residentials, which was quarterly, and we set up a payment plan.
So we
That's
need to follow the same thing.
And it wasn't overly complicated. It was just, you know, caused a little extra work on our end.
Thank you,
That's
Jack.
fine. We can include that in the interest fee or some kind of an admin fee. Taking the present value of the money, whatever, we can work up some numbers.
Are we allowed to do that? It's Denise. Are we allowed to do that?
I don't believe that we charged interest, you know.
I don't think we have either. I always thought we couldn't.
I don't know. That would be a question for legal, but we did not under the previous water payment plans.
We did not.
Did not.
We can do it with the property taxes. We can do it with other things. I have to look at the bylaws and the codes. So I really don't know the answer yet, but I'll find out. How about that?
A deal.
Ron,
There you go. So my recommendation is to go with that, and we will give you a proposal.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
our next item is from transportation. I think I saw Ray Smith on. So last month we tabled the authorization to purchase a trailer for use by the highway department simply because the inventory had been depleted. But now he has found new inventory and he has a proposed trailer to purchase, and I included that in the packets for you all. The next is a resolution permanently appointing a grounds worker. So one of the new grounds workers in the Parks Department has successfully completed his probationary period, and this would just be to permanently appoint him. And unless anybody has anything to add from the floor, that actually concludes all of our agenda items.
I had a couple of items. I was hoping we might have some time.
Sure.
One I want to follow back up on. I had asked about the county grant money. Remember Janet and Ismat, I had asked about that money coming in So I made some inquiries with the county, and it turns out that we have to first front the money, expend the money toward those, and then we'll get reimbursed. So in the coming month or two, just want to let everybody know if we come forth with those expenditures, we'll make note, Ray and I will say, well, this is allocated, this is an expenditure we have to make up front, but we will be getting reimbursed from the county. So that, I just want to provide an update on that. And then the other thing, I wanted to find out what town board members might think of having a student representative on some of our town advisory councils. I was thinking it, would provide for a student voice and also provide for, a learning experience for our students. And when I say students, I was thinking high school, college age, just thinking tree council, conservation advisory council. Every time there are submissions for resumes for those, of course, we often choose folks that have extensive resumes, and then, really doesn't leave an opportunity for our students. And again, just might be an opportunity to give them a voice and an opportunity also for them to learn something, and they might have interest in these. So I just wanted to float it to, town board folks and see what they thought. And if we think it's a good idea, maybe we could, put something together along those lines.
I'm in support.
Haven't we done this in the past, had students on some different committees and things like that?
Yeah, maybe I'm new, so I don't know if it's ever been done. But I know we don't have. I was talking like a designated spot. So we have, the town board appoints however many to a committee or to a task force or to a group, a set number. This would be like sort of an additional spot that'd just be reserved exclusively for high school or college students, just so that they have a potential spot on advisory committees.
Yeah, we could structure it much like how youth court used to operate. Essentially, it was the same thing, but it was for, justice court. But in this sense, it would be the same, a group of high school students, and they could have their own council or committee. Would anybody at the school be willing to serve as the proctor for that committee, perhaps?
I'm not talking about a separate committee. I'm talking about a designated, and I don't know if that was clear, a designated student representative on tree council, a designated student representative on the conservation advisory council, just to have that youth voice. That's all.
Got it. Okay.
Is there, is there interest enough for me to try and, perhaps work something up?
I think it would help if you did. So why don't you write something down and share it with us, and then we could react to it. So I don't see any reason why we wouldn't do it, but I think it's probably easiest for everybody if we just have something to look at, right?
Sure. Just wanted to float the idea, see, before I put pen to paper. But if there's at least some interest in looking at it, I will write something up.
Yes.
Can I add just one thing to it? I'm sorry, I'm not one of the board members, but in higher education, that's what they do. And so they have a student body, but what happened is that they earn a 1 credit hour towards attendance, and they do a little bit of report and then present it to the school and then present it to the council.
Yeah, it'd be a great conduit, to your description, Isma. It might be a good conduit between the town and the district, or if we're, even college students, just another connection.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I noticed I did not send you all the meeting minutes from the last meeting in the package, so I'm not going to ask to have those approved. We'll have to address that last month. I did put them on the town website, but I did not send them in the package in my fervor to get this out on Friday afternoon. So we will address those minutes next month.
Okay, thanks, Janet, and hope you're feeling better.
I'm getting there. Thanks.
And thanks. I know we just, changed you back to confidential secretary, but thanks again for all your work over the past few months in support of the office and the town.
Glad I could help.
You're a great help. Thank you.
Does anybody
Yes,
have?
Janet, thank you. You've been doing an excellent job, and I'm sure you'll still be doing that excellent job, even with a different title
Exactly.
change.
You got it. And I have to say, within 1.5 weeks, even though she was sick, I am just literally relying on her. Over the weekend, I was texting her, and I shouldn't have been, but she is absolutely awesome. I have to say that.
So
Thank you.
I got some other questions about finance. You sent us some stuff about, fund balance and moving some money around, and you sent us the information about the fueling station. Have we gotten that worked out?
I think so. I sent it all. Ismet wanted everything, all the backup that we had for everything to go out. Most of this stuff you all have seen before. With the fueling station, we just wanted to make sure you had a complete and comprehensive package. Though I forgot the meeting minutes, so that didn't work very well, apparently. But she and I had reviewed that, and I think we're good on that. Matt's moving forward. I'm not sure. I think we're probably pretty close to getting an invoice on that, which is why I'd like to get those budget mods done for the end of the month so that we're not holding up payment on the vendor.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for getting all that information to us, some of it historical, if you will, of emails and things.
Anything else? We're like on a roll here. This is 6:22. I feel like we're missing something.
Yeah, this is atypical.
Well, when it's Ismet's turn next month, it'll be really long. You watch. We'll make sure to put a lot on there for her.
I'll take my comments back.
Well, since there seems to be no other business and we don't have a meeting till 7, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
You have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right.
Thank you all. We'll see you at 7.
Thank you.
Yeah.